It's been a while since I've talked about professional wrestling on this channel. So what I've done is I've gathered up a few stories that have happened recently, and I want to talk about them. Likes of Daniel Bryan, 5-Star Wrestling, Rey Mysterio, and the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2018. I want to run that down. I always like to run down who is in this year's class of the WWE Hall of Fame. Go through, see who WWE have selected to add or bring back to their family. Firstly, Daniel Bryan. This news came out just yesterday that following more than 2 years of extensive evaluations, Daniel Bryan has been cleared to return to in-ring competition by leading neurologists, neurosurgeons, and concussion experts, including Dr. Robert Cantu, Dr. Javier Cardenas, and Dr. Jeffrey Kutcher. The statement on WWE.com continued saying Bryan underwent a full review of his medical history and received comprehensive urological and physical evaluations independent of WWE. He was cleared by each doctor as well as WWE's medical director, Dr. Joseph Maroon. So, after about 2 years of trying to be cleared by WWE, Daniel Bryan is actually suddenly cleared. This we've had for about those whole 2 years that Daniel Bryan has been examined by other doctors, and they cleared him, but it'd been WWE's medical staff, including particularly the mentioned Dr. Joseph Maroon, who has stopped him from returning to in-ring competition. Some people have, of course, suggested that this may be to do with his contract running out in September, because we are already 2/3 of the way through March, so it's fairly quickly coming up. It'll come up, September will come around quicker than we realise. And also, of course, there's been many reports that when his contract did expire, he would then leave WWE and go compete in ring elsewhere. Many other, of course, places were touted, places like Ring of Honor or just going to the independent scene. So this is a little bit of a surprise. It's quite a bit of a turnaround for WWE's medical staff, in particular, again, that Dr. Joseph Maroon, who was the one who just wouldn't clear Daniel Bryan to wrestle. He just, time and time again, would not clear him to wrestle. Obviously, everybody's booking him in those dream matches against the likes of Shinsuke Nakamura. Well, firstly, I would say if he does come back, if he is going to make an in-ring return, which seems likely, especially after the events of SmackDown last night where Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens attacked him, I would say, of course, firstly, he has to kind of curb back the physical style that he used to perform at. And also, would he become a full-time performer again? He hasn't wrestled for a couple of years. I'm not questioning his skills, because he's one of the most skilled performers out there. I'm sure he would these days. I'm sure he will, prior to any match that he will be doing, he will train extremely hard for that. But I'm questioning, especially with him, at least must be in his mid-30s now. I'm wondering, kind of, will or should he come back as a full-time performer? I'm really more hoping that he comes back, and this medical clearance is kind of for the occasional matchup. Just competing occasionally when the situation calls for it. I think that would be a lot better for his health and well-being, in my opinion. I'm really looking forward to him returning. I think that, looking at a couple of clips, because I didn't watch SmackDown last night, I know that I said he fired Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and then they attacked him, which may lead to a match, either a tag team match or a handicap match, most likely probably a tag team match, with those three involved at some point. I'm not sure whether that will be WrestleMania, because apparently the reports again, there were that it was supposed to be Daniel Bryan versus Shane McMahon, which seemed to not be happening. at least at this point, could always be sprung on us as kind of a last minute exciting surprise. But I would say the likes of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are two great, safe pair of hands. Daniel Bryan knows them, can trust them. I think they're perfect for this kind of situation. Daniel Bryan will want to be extremely careful on any return to the ring, and I think those two guys are great talents, especially when they're right on it, when they are having a great day, a great performance. Those two guys are two guys who could really look after Daniel Bryan in any return to the ring, which, again, I kind of hope it's just occasional, one-off matches sometimes when the situation calls for it. I think that would be better for his health, his well-being and his future. Will he stay with WWE? I like to hope so. I really would. I would like to think so. I really like to hope so, because I think Daniel Bryan, it's like that Nigel McGuinness situation in his documentary, where's Daniel Bryan going to earn the money where if he does get injured again, he's going to be able to look after himself? Or who's going to... there's no real other company that's going to be able to look after him as much, unfortunately, as WWE would be able to do if he was to get injured and his career finally be cut off. More concussions, neck injuries, or whatever it would happen to be. So I would hope that Daniel Bryan returns to, keeps with WWE with his upcoming contract expiring. But it's good news for him overall. I'm really happy to see that he hasn't wrestled his last match. The next story is that 5 Star Wrestling is done. 5 Star Wrestling is the company that's been doing the free sport television live shows every Thursday. It's on Sky, on Freeview. I'm not sure about Virgin Media or any other provider. I'm not, to be honest, 5 Star Wrestling, I made my thoughts about them clear before. I'm actually very pleased and happy that company is done. The company had a bad attitude. They cancelled the previous tour, claiming that they couldn't take the risk with terrorism, things that were going on, even though many of the acts, including some that were scheduled for the Manchester Arena where one of the tragedies happened. Lots of acts still went to Manchester, and other venues moved heaven and earth to accommodate them. People in Manchester as well and supported them. There was a great benefit concert not too long after. It was due to poor ticket sales. Now, the reason why they got one of the reasons why they got a bad reputation was they weren't honest with the fans about that. They tried to claim, it's terrorism, it wouldn't be safe to run events, where there was hundreds, if not thousands of events happening right across the UK in the immediate aftermath of these attacks, of what happened. They weren't honest. They could have said, okay, we're not getting as much interest as we like. Try to encourage people to support them, because wrestling fans do like to support a good, decent wrestling company, a company that will try and help elevate or help continue to maintain or even build further the UK wrestling scene. We like to support that. But 5 Star, they continued to lie. They had this kind of super show mentality as well, but they mucked some of the wrestlers around. They told Jack Jester, which I believe was turned into a storyline in the last show because I haven't watching these shows. They told Jack Jester he was not suitable to I can't remember what the actual phrase, but too kind of unstable, too unpredictable. I think too unpredictable for live TV. I think was what he was called, and also Joe Coffey, one of the most respected UK wrestlers. He decided that he would not take part in this recent run of events, and for a guy like Joe Coffey to decide that, there's certainly something serious there, because Joe Coffey is one of the hardest working, most talented wrestlers on the UK scene, and there are many of them. And speaking of them, I really feel for those guys who've lost bookings, guys like the Lion Kid, a veteran really now of the UK wrestling scene. He's a little bit scrambling to replace the bookings, because he, like quite a few others in the UK scene, in recent years have turned professional. So they've kind of ditched their real life jobs. Sesh Moth Martina, I think is her name. She had a job in care until recently. She's recently ditched that and gone full time. There's many others who have gone full time, so they are true professional wrestlers. So, oh, you're a wrestler in the UK. What's your real job? If people ask them that, they can go, well, actually, no, I'm actually a full time professional wrestler, which is great. And to have that level of attainability achievable by UK wrestlers, to have them actually work full time and travel the world, it's great. But 5 Star, they've had a lot of problems. The first show, of course, on Free Sports, the ring ropes were so loose that it looked like Ultimate Warrior's ghost was shaking them. And for a wrestling company, he's actually run quite a few at least a few shows. I attended one in Edinburgh, which may have been the first Scottish show. At least about 3 years ago now, almost. So they've not been truthful with fans. They've kind of tried to hoodwink people. The recent run of shows that they've done, they've tried to claim, oh, it was all pretty much sold out, but you can see certainly on the TV things that the big arenas that they've hired, which is again another step too far. They've gone that super show mentality. They've seen the boom in UK wrestling and think, oh, you know what we'll do? They've got, I don't know, they've got, what's reported to be, oh, we've got Daddy's bank balance, so we've got Daddy's checkbook. We'll bring in a lot of fly-ins, like Sir Rey Mysterio, Jack Hager, Johnny Mundo, lots of guys. We'll hire big arenas, and because of all these stars, and because of the boom that's going on in British wrestling right now, people will flock to our shows. Doesn't work, has never worked. Look at the history of the likes of 1PW for examples of that. Doesn't work. UK wrestling is booming on the backs, literally, backs, front, arms, legs, the whole bodies of UK wrestlers. I mean that male and female. Or there are actually a few people I believe who kind of differentiate in between. I believe recently I've seen, so male, female, whatever. It's been built on the backs of UK talent. Having a super show mentality of having a lot of fly-ins, especially just featuring only your fly-ins on TV like they've done, especially at the start of that Free Sports run, never works. People realise that, and to be honest, I lost all respect for 5 Star Wrestling when before their previous tour, the one that got cancelled. A couple of members of my family and good friends of mine, they messaged them because the company was actually unfortunately based here in Dundee. Previously it was the Serious Parody company that made the 5 Star Wrestling video game. Before the promotion there was that company, and that whole entire company has shut down, it seems, from looking through some of the tweets. Friends of mine, and I've seen the messages and I've seen the replies that they received. My friends sent friendly requesting, we think you've got a great idea, which it was. I was excited about it a little bit. I thought they've got great ideas. They could maybe build another good brand, like you said, another place for wrestlers to work at, to earn money, to live off, to pay their bills, and for fans to enjoy. But the replies that my friends got used a lot of foul and abusive language, including the name of the local promotion here in Dundee, mixed with a word that is normally a very derogatory term for those who are mentally handicapped. I'm not going to repeat what that phrase is because I don't want to get in trouble on YouTube for it, but that was the replies that they received, and that actually changed my mind. This is how much they lost my respect. I was given the option by my friends, if you want to go to the event last January in Dundee, the Ice Arena, you want to go to that event and meet Rey Mysterio, a guy that I have followed for more than 20 years, go ahead. They wouldn't have held it against me. But the fact of those replies, the language used, the attitudes that we got, that came back generally, I even thought, you know what, no, even meeting Rey Mysterio, I won't even pay those guys to meet Rey Mysterio. Luckily, Rey was in Glasgow for Fear and Loathing, ICW's big event this past November, and I was able to meet him then. So that's how much they lost my respect. I didn't even go to meet Rey Mysterio, and I do feel also for the families who bought tickets for events including upcoming in Aberdeen, Manchester, Birmingham, and again here in Dundee and a couple other places. all those events are obviously now no longer taking place, they're all cancelled. So I would urge anybody who bought tickets for those shows to certainly to really chase up your refunds, because you're entitled. The show's been cancelled. I watch enough consumer programmes in my lifetime. I'm no legal expert in any way, shape or form. I don't have any qualifications in it. But you are entitled to a refund because the event has been cancelled. It's nothing to do with you. You've paid your money. You have your tickets, or hopefully you have your tickets. You're entitled to a refund because your show has been cancelled. It's nothing you've done. They've cancelled the show, so you are entitled to a refund, in my opinion. Good. If anybody wants to seek legal advice about that, go ahead. Rey Mysterio, talking about Rey Mysterio, he has been courted by Impact Wrestling and WWE as of late. I would say he's better off signing with WWE, to be honest. I know he's hopefully got a match, because I know he's torn his bicep. I hope the match with him and him and Jushin Thunder Liger does go ahead at the Ring of Honor event. I really hope so. I know Rey Mysterio's dropped out of a couple of bookings in wrestling. I know he's making a couple of appearances, shows that he was supposed to wrestle at, which is great of him. He's a good guy. One of the top guys. I don't think anyone's ever really had a complaint about Rey Mysterio when they met him, fans or whatever. I would say Rey Mysterio, he's better signing with WWE. It's another situation kind of like, I don't know how much money Rey Mysterio has got, but it's kind of similar to Nigel McGuinness. Same with Daniel Bryan. If these guys get hurt, there's no really other company, unfortunately, right now that's going to be able to look after them if they get hurt. A guy like Daniel Bryan or even Rey Mysterio, if he gets injured, there's no company that's going to look after him like WWE would. And I think there's a great Hall of Fame spot waiting next year for Rey Mysterio. Talking of the Hall of Fame class, and I also want to actually quickly mention WCW Thunder. There are episodes of that now up on the WWE Network. As a fan of WCW, I'm really happy to see. I know the last year or so of the promotion wasn't great, and actually, I think, in my opinion, the last good event was Uncensored 99, which I'm really it's really unfortunate to see what happened when, coming to an end, the Conrad Thompson and Tony Schiavone podcast. It's really a shame that that's ending and that they haven't covered Uncensored 99, because that was on the poll recently and I voted for it, but obviously didn't win the poll, the opinion poll. I'm really happy to see WCW programming continue to exist through the WWE Network. I continue to enjoy the network. It's really good. Saves a lot of money as well from buying pay-per-views. I hope that we get to see some WCW Saturday nights and WCW Worldwide and more WCW programming that WWE have in the video library coming. But it's great to see Thunder actually being uploaded. So quickly, I want to run down the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2018, because I didn't know this video. Looking at my camcorder, it's going long. I want to try and keep it about 20 minutes, but it's going to go run a bit over with the intro and everything. So the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2018, they have Goldberg, can't argue with that, former WCW champion, big name in the wrestling business, whatever you think of him. WCW World Champion, World Heavyweight Champion in WWE, WWE Universal Champion, two-time United States Champion in WCW, a long undefeated streak, regardless of the true figures. Week after week on television, Nitros and then Thunders, he was undefeated. So a big, not really had the career that he obviously could have had, but still very, very successful. Dudley Boys, had the pleasure of meeting them this past November as well. Not arguing with them. I'm glad that they're actually going into the WWE Hall of Fame. 8-time WWE World Tag Team Champions, 1-time WWE Tag Team Champion, 8-time ECW Champions, 1-time WCW Tag Team Champions, IWGP Tag Team Champions, I believe, perhaps GHC Tag Champs as well, maybe, I'm not sure, but one of the biggest tag teams of the last about 20, nearly 30 years now, definitely deserving of a Hall of Fame spot. They will actually apparently be inducted by Edge and Christian, which makes sense. Ivory, 3-time WWE Women's Champion, 1-time Glow Champion. Double J Jeff Jarrett. Now there's the surprise, as I've mentioned before. I talked about that previously when it was announced. 4-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion, 6-time Intercontinental Champion. And I said I never saw Jeff Jarrett as a real main eventer in the true sense of the word, but he obviously is coming back into the WWE fold. What his role will be ongoing, that's what I think is what to look out for. Jarrett's J.J. Robertson, who's going to be the Warrior Award recipient. He is a double liver transplant survivor. Very young kid. Looked like he's had a really tough time of it so far. Hopefully that's going to be improving. Don't really know a lot about him, but hopefully we'll get the proper story at the Hall of Fame. Hillbilly Jim, one of the guys who we've been thinking, well, why isn't he in the WWE Hall of Fame? Even as much as about 6 years ago when they did the Legends House, because that was about 6 years ago now, because they filmed it in late spring, early summer. Hillbilly Jim is one of the guys that we've always questioned, why isn't he in the WWE Hall of Fame? One of the biggest characters in the 1980s was Hillbilly Jim. One of the top names, one of the most out there names when it comes to 1980s WWE. 30 plus years associated with the company as a wrestler, manager, ambassador. Great to see him finally added to the WWE Hall of Fame. Wouldn't mind seeing him actually do kind of UK appearances as well for different companies. Kid Rock, Celebrity Wing inductee. A few of his songs are good. Does a lot of kind of Leonard Skinner covers and remixes. You have to. It was actually discussed on another podcast that I listened to called The Church of What's Happening Now. It's presented by Lee Saya and the main presenter is Joey Coco Diaz. He was on about it a little while ago about how amazing what kind of influence would Leonard Skinner have if they'd all still been around. I believe like one or two of them died in a plane crash. It was a bit tragic. It was what influence would they have had on music if they'd been around full time. I'm not sure how old the members would have been these days. They may have called it quits by now, but they certainly would be hugely still influential with a lot obviously deeper library of music that they would have made. So Kid Rock is okay. There's always a celebrity inductee for. To be honest, Kid Rock, it's not too bad, long associated with the company. And of course announced yesterday, finally, Mark Henry is to join the WWE Hall of Fame. Mark is obviously retired. I saw a interview with him. It was a kind of written text of an interview with her. He says that really Father Time is kind of starting to catch up with him. Realised that about 3 years ago. And so he's retired. I believe he's signed an agent's or producer's contract. I'm not sure what his role exactly will be going forward, but he said it on the table for three a while ago, where it was him, Ron Simmons, and The Rock. I think it might have been where he said he kind of wanted to go into a behind the scenes role with the company. So it's WrestleMania season. I'm really looking forward to it. I have the matches listed there, but I go really long on this video. I want to talk about the WrestleMania matches prior to WrestleMania. Wait till a finalised card actually to do that. But there's been some great stuff going on in 2018 when it comes to professional wrestling. We're only really about a quarter of the way through the year, and I think this is going to be an amazing year for the industry as a whole.